Hi, I just wanted to touch base. I have been asked to talk about how I reshaped and flattened the lovely little hoe feet of a Monster High doll. And so I'm gonna do a quick demo today. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. This is the first doll I ever did it on, Miss Headless lady here. Her head is over there. And one foot, the first foot, turned out quite questionable, and the other one turned out quite well. And I'm sure you can tell which one it is. That's the questionable one. It's got bubbling and all sorts of other bad squishing and buckling, as you can see. So there's bubbles from overheating. Excuse my fingernails. I was just out in the garden, and I bent it too hard on the ankle and not enough on the arch. This one, much better. I bent it more on the arch, and I was much more careful about reshaping the toes. And as you can see, the difference is unbelievable. And as you can see, she is pretty much able to wear flats. So very cool. So here is a Monster High doll, which I got for about $11 the other day. I realized why. She doesn't have articulated arms, which kind of sucks, but she'll do. I did a little bit on her already to see if the plastic was the same, and I made the same mistakes, and I pushed at the ankle instead of at this part of the foot, which is where I need to heat the most, is right here. And I pushed too fast, which caused buckling. So I'm going to show you what I do and what I use. And this is what I use. It's a standard heat gun, and it is about $20 or $25 in your paint department at your local hardware store. So that's all you need. I'm going to plug it in and get started. All right, I'm back. So there's a good chance that we will be interrupted by a wild 3-year-old. As you can see, my table is basically consumed by 3-year-old things, except for doll head and nesting dolls, which I plan to paint soon, but toys and books and all that stuff. And he might come running from over there at some point. So just a hazard that we need to keep an eye out. So as you can see, I started the other one before. So there's 2 settings on this thing. There's a low and high setting. Start with the low and stay with the low. If you go too hot, it'll melt too quickly and it'll bubble and boil. So put your doll's foot on the table. Keep it at a good distance, like maybe 2-3 inches, and keep turning it. Excuse me, I have to get the other girl out of the way. And what I'm doing is I'm using the table as a pressure point to judge when it's going to start to soften, because it'll start to give. Excuse me just one moment. Stop the world! Super Y stopped playing. Hopefully the internet is behaving. Anyway, that's what I do to keep him busy enough so that I can do something, is to make the television the babysitter. And she was already getting very warm when I left. And I am primarily heating up the arch of the foot and not the ankle. The ankle is probably the worst place you can do it, because then it loses its beautiful shape when you push it. So, and the arch is where the bend is anyway. So I learned that on the first doll, and I made the same mistake on this doll, and I forgot. So hopefully that'll prevent you from having to experience that yourself. Now let's see, any give yet? Nope. Let's do the back of the arch too. That can't hurt. Get it warm. Just pushing a little bit. Now, sometimes when it gets too hot, it starts to get shiny. So that's a warning. So back it off when the plastic gets shiny. And we've got some give. Because that's about just before it starts to boil and give you bubbles. So just make sure that when you start seeing the plastic getting shiny, And as you can see, she's starting to give. Now, I'm pushing gently, not too hard, because otherwise the plastic will actually fold on itself and it makes it unattractive. I mean, it can be fixed and molded if needed, if you do have little accidents, but don't push too hard. You don't want the plastic to fold on itself. You see here, there's kind of a little bulge right there. That's from pushing too hard. So just push a little bit. And I'm giving it a distance because it's already hot as it is. So I'm just keeping it warm. And I'm rolling it. You can see it's already starting to go. I'm going to do the bottom of the foot, get that arch. See, watch the bulge. Okay, we're getting some give. And you got to be careful how you push it because you don't want her foot to buckle sideways. So, okay, we got a little bit of buckling. You see that? I was pushing too hard. So how to fix that? You got to kind of pull the foot. There you go. Oh, and watch the hair too. Sometimes you should probably take the head off before you do this, because the hair is very, very susceptible to heat. But since I plan to scalp her and put new hair on her, I'm not too concerned about the hair. I use mohair and I will replug the whole head. Okay, let's get the top of that arch a little bit. I'm trying to do it gently because I'm trying to avoid the buckling. There's a little bit going on here. It's not terrible, but it could be worse. So plastic is still pretty hard. Always move her a lot. Don't let it sit in one place because that will cause the bubbling that you don't want. So that's the general gist of it. It's taking a little while and I don't want to make this movie too long, but you just keep working on it and you'll get to this fairly quickly. So wow, she's warm just from being over there. That's crazy. So yep, as you can see, you go from this to this with just a little bit of heat manipulation. So that's what you do. You have to experiment and do it on your own and get a feel for it on your own. But that's how you reshape a Monster High doll foot.